Hello, viewers. This is Dr. K. Saroja Pravas, Assistant in the Department of Botany, Government Degree College, Khairabad, Hyderabad. Today, we are going to learn about reproductive organ culture. So, in the last classes, we have seen what is vegetative organ culture. In that, we have what is a shoot tip culture or meristem culture, leaf culture, and root culture. So, in this class, we are going to see in detail about reproductive organ culture. So, what is a reproductive? If the reproductive organs like ovary, ovule, anthers, pollen grains, or embryo, if they form the explants of the tissue culture technique, then it is known as reproductive organ culture. So, in this class, we are going to see anther culture in detail. So, we'll start with anther culture. So this is a picture where you can see this is I think you can identify what is a flower. This flower is a hibiscus. In hibiscus you can see the anthers. So these are the anthers and this is the style and stigma. Okay. So from the anther portion, if anther portion is taken and if it forms the explant of a tissue culture technique, then it is known as anther culture. Now we'll see the definition of anther culture. This is the one more picture which shows very clear. So filament and the antecium consists of a filament and this is the anther and when you slit open the diathecus lobes of anther, there you can see pollen grains. There's microspores. Okay, so whole a stamen. So stamen consists of a filament and a anther lobes. So anther lobes when they get dissected or cut open, then we can pollen grains. So so this is the picture. So same anther. This is the anther lobes. So this is a diathecus anther lobe, and when you cut open this, then you can see the microspores. Okay, or the pollen grains. Now we're going to take, explant is this one, this anther portion. Along with the pollen grains, we are going to take these anther as an explant to conduct the anther culture technique process. Now we'll go a brief history of anther culture. So in 1953, it was first observed by Tulek that mature pollen grains of ginkgo biloba used to proliferate in culture to form haploid cells. So this has happened. Anther culture was first, observed in ginkgo biloba by Tulek in the year 1953, where, from pollen grains you can see formation of a haploid callus. Next, the major break in the history is done by the two scientists from India, that is S. Guha and S.C. Maheshwari. In their 1964, they were the first to report that direct development of embryos from the microspores of Datura inoxia by anther culture. So these are the two scientists who did first anther culture, used or processed anther culture technique in Datura inoxia, where they can see development of embryos. So anther culture was first developed by Guha and Maheshwari in 1964 and both are from India. So this is a credit to Indian scientists. After that, Borgin and Nish in 1967, after Guha and Maheshwari, they obtained complete haploid plantlets from Nicotiana tabacca, again using anther culture technique. So after Guha and Maheshwari only, the other scientists, they worked on anther culture technique and they used different plants. They have taken different plants and using this technique, they could get or develop haploid plantlets or haploid plants. No, what is an anthroculture? Anthroculture is a technique. Again, I said plant tissue culture is a technique. It is not a science. It is a technique. So where we use different methodology to develop it is used to regenerate plantlets. So it is a technique in which the developing anthers are excised. So what we are taking here, we are taking anthers. Anthers are excised, means they cut aseptically. So everything should be in aseptic condition because they should be, all the process should be microbes free or microorganisms free. So because we should avoid contamination. So aseptically from unopened flower bud and are cultured on a nutrient medium where the microspores within the cultured anther develop into callus tissue or embryoids that gives rise to haploid plantlets, either through organogenesis or embryogenesis. So what we are doing, we are taking the unopened flower bud. Okay, so we have to select a plant, and from the selected plant, we have to take the unopened flower bud, and we have to remove the petals, and we have to take the developing anthers, and those developing anthers, they form the explants. That's why this technique is known as anther culture technique. And these developing anthers are cultured on a nutrient medium, so MS medium or no, whites medium, depending on, so are cultured on a nutrient medium. Here the microspores, nothing but the pollen grains which are present within the anther, they develop into first callus tissue, or sometimes they develop as embryoids that gives rise to haploid plantlets, either through organogenesis or embryogenesis. Now we'll see what are embryoids and what is this organogenesis and embryogenesis. So what is an embryoid? Embryoid is a structure which is comparable to zygotic embryo and which is produced in tissue culture by dividing somatic cells. Okay, so what is a zygote embryo? Zygotic embryo, which is dividing reproductive cells, and we how a zygotic embryo get that develop, we'll know. But what is this embryo? It is almost similar to embryo, but the difference is structurally they are similar to zygotic embryo, but they are produced only in tissue culture, and that too by dividing somatic cells. So there is no involvement of any these reproductive cells. And we have talking about two processes, that is organogenesis and embryogenesis. So what is organogenesis? Development of organs or primordia from undifferentiated callus. Cell mass is nothing but callus in tissue culture is known as organogenesis. And what is embryogenesis? Embryogenesis is nothing but development of embryoids in plant tissue culture is known as embryogenesis. So that's why when you are defining a anther culture, we said here very clearly said the microspores or the pollen grains within the culture anther develop into callus tissue or embryoids, and again they gives rise to haploid plantlets, either through organogenesis or embryogenesis. So what does it mean? So indirect way is through callus, formation of callus tissue, and from callus tissue they differentiates into organs or primordia. Okay, that is organogenesis. If they directly develops into embryoids, means which are similar to the structure of zygotic embryo, but they develop through the proliferation of this somatic dividing somatic cells, that is known as embryogenesis. So it happens in two ways: one, either the direct way, that is embryogenesis, or either through the indirect way, that is organogenesis, whereas callus tissue formation takes place. Okay, that's one of the stages, callus formation. Okay, now, okay, so this is the structure. This is a process, simple process. This is the carrot plant. So explant is again anther, nutrient medium, callus formation takes place. From callus, if you see development of embryoid, which is the structure which is similar to embryo. Okay, which is similar to embryo, but it is differs in it happens only in tissue culture, and that too dividing mitotic cells. So this is this is the structure of embryo, and I have taken this from this site. Okay, the picture was taken from this site. Now we'll see what is organogenesis and what is embryogenesis. So here, this is in organogenesis is also known as indirect androgenesis. Okay, where the callus formation takes place, and from that you can see development of organs, and you can see regenerated haploid plant. And in direct way, that is embryogenesis, there you can see embryoid formation takes place, and embryo, that is the embryo is also known as proembryo. Later on it develops, it forms into embryo, and then you can see plantlets, and that is nothing but haploid plantlet. So this I have taken from Farina Nelson, where they have published the paper in pollen embryogenesis for prize plant production. Okay. So this is the difference. One is the direct way, another one is the indirect way. This androgenesis, we'll talk about this androgenesis in detail in pollen culture. Okay. So now I want to just show a difference between what is an organogenesis and what is an embryogenesis. Next, we'll continue what is the principle of anther culture. The principle of anther culture is the production of haploids from totipotent microspores and the occurrence of single set of chromosomes in microspore. Next, the microspores. Nothing but the pollen grains which are present in unopened flower are taken and they are grown on nutrient medium where the developing pollen grains will form either callus or embryos, that is either organogenesis or embryogenesis through the process that will give rise to haploid plantlets. And the principle behind this culture is that without disturbing the natural habitat and environment of the enclosed anther, the pollen can be grown by culturing the intact anther. So within the anther, so okay, the anther is as it is within the anther, whatever the pollen grains are there, without disturbing its natural environmental conditions and habitat, and we are going to develop haploid plantlets. Okay, that's why this culture technique, anther culture technique is very, very important because we are not disturbing the natural environmental conditions of the anther and the pollen grains. Next, the pollens at the uninucleate stage or before first mitosis or during mitosis are the most suitable time for the induction of haploids. So when we have to take an anther or when we have to cut an anther from the plant, selected plant, it should be at the uninucleate stage, the pollen grains, or before first mitosis or during mitosis. Okay. So induction of haploids can be enhanced by keeping the anther at low temperature. Okay. So this is another one. Okay, we have to the induction of haploids can be geared up by keeping the anther at low temperature. So we have to maintain the low temperature. Next, why? Because the low temperature has been, it has been ascribed to a number of factors such as dissolution of microtubules, alteration in the first mitosis, or maintenance of higher ratio of viable pollen capable of embryogenesis. That's why we have to do the process at the low temperature. So that's why we have to go with the cold treatment. Okay, so which helps the embryogenesis by repressing the gametophytic differentiation. Okay, that is one thing. Next, the important aspect of anther or pollen culture is the nutrient medium. So nutrient medium, it plays an important role where the nutritional requirements of the excised anther or removed anther from the selected plant are much simpler than those of isolated microspores, nothing but pollen grains. Okay. Next, in culture, there is an when you're doing an anther culture technique, pollen may divide mitotically to form vegetative and generative nuclei, but the generative nucleus remains quiescent and abortive. Whereas the vegetative nucleus, it divides repeatedly, forming multinucleate pollen. Okay, so this pollen, the multinucleated pollen, it undergoes segmentation, which leads to formation of either organized embryo structure or callus. Both the types of development are utilized to form haploid plantlets. Okay, so it is a picture which shows, this is the microspore that is pollen grain, which is, in a uninucleate stage. It gets divided mitotically, giving rise to a vegetative cell and a generative cell, where generative cell is abortive, and whatever vegetative cell is there, the vegetative cell, it undergoes dividing, repeated divisions takes place in vegetative cell, and it forms as multicellular pollen grain. Okay, and multinucleate pollen grain. Now this pollen grain, this multinucleate or multicellular pollen grain, is a viable pollen grain, and which either through the direct embryo, that is direct embryogenesis, or through indirect organogenesis, that is formation of callus. In either way, it forms the haploid plantlets. Okay, so this, which is important, the vegetative cell, of the microspore or the pollen grain is very, very important. Where the generative cell, it gets degenerated or it is abortive in nature. Next, the haploid plantlets are self-sterile due to presence of single set of chromosomes, which was seen in the starting, but which are not able to participate in meiotic segregation. So for this, we are going to use colchicine treatment. So by colchicine treatment, haploids are made homozygous diploid, which are fertile. Okay, so initial by default, all these are we won't get haploid plantlets until and unless we treat the whatever anther or pollen grains are there. When we treat with colchicine only, then the haploids are made homozygous diploid, and haploids are sterile in nature, whereas homozygous diploids are fertile in nature. So this is another thing, important thing we have to remember while doing anther culture technique. Colchicine, why colchicine? Why not other process or other chemicals? Colchicine is a spindle inhibitor but induces chromosome duplication and to produce polyploidy plants. So haploid or homozygous diploids are grown in vitro, are transferred to pot, and they're grown in glasshouse. So why colchicine treatment? Colchicine is a chemical which is, it is used as a spindle inhibitor, but also it induces chromosome duplication. That's why they become diploids, and they are used to produce polyploidy plants. Now we'll go with the protocol of this anther culture technique. So tobacco is the ideal material for anther culture. The immature anthers, which are uninucleate pollen, at the time of first mitosis are taken. That is the most suitable material for the induction of haploids that we have seen in the principle of anther culture technique. So we have to go with uninucleate pollen grains, and that too at the time of first mitosis. This is very important. Next, what we have to do? The process starts like this. We have to collect at the flower buds of a tobacco plant at the onset of flowering. Each flower bud contains 5 anthers. That is in Nicotiana tabacum. It contains 5 anthers. And the flowered buds or anthers are surface sterilized. And you know how surface sterilization is to be done. It starts with the T-pol, washing with T-pol, then rinsing with distilled water, and then immersion in 70% ethanol for 10 seconds, then followed by 10 minutes incubation in 2% sodium hypochlorite. Then they are washed thoroughly with the sterile distilled water 3 to 4 times. So why? Because why this washing is done or rinsing is done? To remove the chemicals present on the surface of the anthers. They have to be washed out. That we have to take care. That's why with sterile distilled water we have to wash the anthers thoroughly. Then finally transfer the buds to a sterile petri dish. Everything should be in a sterile condition, and it should be in aseptic condition. All this process is done in laminar airflow, where HEPA filters are there, where there is a keep on cleaning the air, where removing the microorganisms. Next, remove the anthers from flower bud and transfer them to a sterile petri dish. Anthers are placed on solidified basal, as I said, MS medium, that is Murashik-Skoog's medium, or White's medium, or niche and niche medium. This is another medium, niche and niche medium. So either any three nutrient medium culture medium can be taken where the anthers are placed. Now the culture is kept in the dark for 3 to 4 weeks. So here it is in the dark. Remember that. So anther culture technique should be done in the dark, and that too for 3 to 4 weeks. So here you can see how with the help of sterile scalpels, the laminar airflow, the anthers from a flower bud and they're transferred to the sterile petri dish. So this picture clearly shows how we have to do. And while doing also, we have to we have to clean our hands with the alcohol, 70% alcohol, so that even our hands should be free of microorganisms or any dirt or everything, so that there should be no contamination while doing the work. And it should be done in the presence of spirit lamp. Next, at this time, the anthers undergo pollen embryogenesis and haploid plantlets are formed from the cultured anther. Okay, so after 3 to 4, the time of 3 to 4 weeks, what is happening? These anthers, they undergo pollen embryogenesis. Means the microspores present in the anthers, they undergo pollen embryogenesis, and haploid plantlets are formed from the cultured anther. At this stage, the cultures are incubated at 24 to 28 degrees centigrade for 14 hours under daylight. So after when the pollen embryogenesis process has taken place, then after that, when organs are forming, then we have to the environmental conditions or control condition has to be changed, where it not in the dark, now it should be under daylight, the two for 14 hours under 24 to 28 degrees centigrade. Okay. Next, the plantlets are removed carefully from the medium, and then they are transferred to small pots containing autoclaved composting soil. So this is known as, and there we have to place them in greenhouse conditions. And this process or this stage is known as acclimatization or hardening process. So whatever the technique, it may be the root culture technique or leaf culture techniques, shoot tip or meristem culture, anther culture technique, pollen culture, ovary, ovule, any culture technique, the process, and ultimately after getting your regenerated haploid plantlets, we have to transfer them to a small pot containing autoclaved compost, and we have to place them in greenhouse conditions where they are get habituated or accustomed to natural environmental conditions. After 1 week, getting habituated to natural environment conditions in greenhouse, after 1 week they are transferred to larger pots till the plants mature and flower, and they are transferred to the natural environmental conditions. So this is the protocol, and this is the picture which shows the different stages of anther culture technique. This photo was taken from biologyreader.com. So this we have the plant what we have selected. We have to select the unopened flower bud, and in the laminar airflow chamber. So this is in aseptic conditions we have to do laminar airflow chamber. We have to surface sterilize the flower buds and wash them properly. The surface sterilization, as you know, it goes with the tapol. Next, washing with the distilled water. After that, next 70% for 10 seconds. Then 2% sodium hypochlorite for 10 minutes. Then thoroughly wash with the distilled water. Okay. Then after that, we have to cut open the flower bud, and we have to remove the anthers or the stamens from flower bud, and we have to discard this filaments portion, and we have to take only the anthers portion. And these anthers are they have now transfer onto the nutrient medium. It may be MS medium, Mirashigan Spooks medium, or next or a white medium, or niche medium, any basal medium or any nutrient medium. So through two processes, that is either through organogenesis, where callus formation, this is a callus from unorganized proliferative mass of cells, through callus formation. After callus, they get differentiated into root and shoot region, and you can see formation of haploid plantlets, or through embryogenesis, where you can see formation of embryoids. Okay, whereas which are structurally similar to zygotic embryo, but they are developed in tissue culture only through dividing somatic cells. So after embryo, then embryos, you can see formation of embryos, and from embryos again you can see development of development of haploid plantlets. So either it is through organogenesis or through embryogenesis. From the anthers, you can see formation or development of haploid plantlets. So this is the picture which shows the stages of anther culture technique very clearly. I hope this picture is clear for you. Next. Now, what are the applications of anther culture technique? Now, this is very important. So, why anther culture is very important? Oh, so first one is use of anther culture in plant breeding programs. Okay. So, use of anther culture in plant breeding programs, that is crop improvement program. So we have seen this anther culture. It is very important with this what do you say, this anther culture is very important because the main and foremost advantage of in vitro production of haploids over what do you say, the conventional plant breeding method is the saving of time. Okay, so this saving of time is can be achieved very easily through this anther culture. So that's why Anther culture is the most convenient method in vitro production of for in vitro production of haploid plants. By anther culture, homozygous diploids or diploid plants can be produced within a year as compared to the long breeding inbreeding methods which are taken in conventional plant breeding programs, which might take almost 4 to 6 years. This is another advantage over conventional plant breeding methods. Okay. Now another one is the success of any crop improvement depends on the extent of genetic variability in base population. So in this regard, we can see anther culture, not only haploids but also plants of various ploidy level and mutants plants can be regenerated through anther culture. So it is a rich source of genetic variability. So the anther culture derived callus of Arachis hypogaea and Kajanas kajan and Caesar aratinum showed a wide range of genetic variability, and that can be incorporated into the plant breeding program. So this is another advantage where you can have genetic variability by using anther culture technique. Another advantage to plant breeders is where large number of microspores can be cultured, and it is a possibility of uncovering new and highly beneficial gene combination. Okay, so with this we can what happen, we can have a disease resistant varieties can be used, and with this we can induce plantlets, haploid plants which are disease free. This is another one. Anthers derived haploids have been extensively used in protoplast culture and somatic hybridization also. So this is another one. And one more thing is haploid plants derived from anther culture are sterile as they contain only one set of chromosomes, but these plants can be made fertile homozygous, as I said, by doubling their chromosome, which shows normal meiotic segregation. And the fertile homozygous diploid plants are more important than sterile haploids, and they can be used as pure lines in breeding programs. So through anther culture technique only, where though they are haploids which are sterile in nature initially, but by doubling their chromosome, we can make them as fertile by using colchicine treatment. One treatment we have seen. So through colchicine treatment, we can make them as homozygous diploid plants which are fertile in nature, and these fertile plants are can be used as pure lines in breeding program. Next is use of anther culture for mutation study. The microspore culture lies in the study of somatic cell genetics. In such studies, mutant cell lines are specifically important. So this is the second one. And third one is use of haploids in cryogenic study. Cryopreservation of haploid cell pollen embryos is a novel approach for the long-term preservation of genetic stability and to establish a haploid germplasm bank. So if you want to store any germplasm of any particular plant, which may be an endangered plant or it may be a medicinally important plant, that it can be achieved through this haploid, that is the anther culture technique, and it is a novel approach for them, and it is a long-term preservation also. Next, last is use of anther culture for horticultural plants. Freesia, it is an horticultural important plant. It propagates vegetatively by means underground corms, and normally it takes 8 long years to produce a clone. But this can be achieved in a short time, very quickly in a short time by anther culture technique. So instead of taking 8 long years to produce a clone, through anther culture technique, using this technique, we can get the clones or haploids within a short duration or short period. So this is another application of anther culture technique. Okay, so another one is anther culture and the alkaloid content. So that is biochemical. So homozygous plants obtained through anther culture technique have also been employed for the selection of breeding lines of Nicotiana tabacum with high alkaloid content. So homozygous recombinants of Hyoscyamus rhinizer having high alkaloid content is also obtained by anther culture. So like this anther culture, it has many applications. That's why in plant tissue culture, along with micropropagation, even along with the micropropagation and shoot tip or meristem culture, even anther culture has an importance to develop haploid plants. And in the next class, we'll see in detail about pollen culture, and we'll see how pollen culture is advantageous over anther culture. Both, though pollen grains are a part of anther, but still, why this culture technique is, it is more important than and more significant than anther culture. And then we'll see what homozygous plants and how we can develop homozygous fertile plants. That is colchicine we have seen. No? Next, another two important process also we'll see. And next we'll see what are the significance of haploid plants. So this is the next class we'll see in detail. Hope anther culture technique is very clear to you, and we'll see in the next class.